It's an important question. What's the hardest part about sticking to a budget?
What is the hardest part of a budget?
I'd probably say the emergency funds, because you never know what's going to happen and when it's going to happen.
Hardest part of budgeting is prioritizing and figuring out what you really need versus what you sort of kind of need versus what you want versus what you don't need, but all of that. Prioritizing, hardest part.
Actually sticking to it.
Some good answers from our coworkers. Setting and sticking to a budget is hard work. Now imagine running a State Department with a budget in the billions. That's reality for State Treasurer Dale Folwell. What is the hardest part of running our state budget?
Well, as the previous story talked about, is the discipline, and especially when you're the keeper of the public purse and dealing with taxpayer money. The legislature sets the budget, but each department has the responsibility of living within theirs.
And there are several departments in our own state budget. I do want to take a closer look at the Department of Transportation. Look at these numbers here. This year alone, the DOT has overspent its budget by $2 billion. That equals the budgets for community colleges, public health programs, social services, and running the state government combined. So what led to this overspending, and did severe weather play a role?
Well, weather is always an important role, but you have to reserve for that. But basically, the Department of Transportation, when they were told they were spending too much money, when they were told they were speeding, so to speak, they didn't slow down. And then eventually when they slowed down, they didn't slow down enough, and that's resulted in these shortfalls in the DOT budget to the tune of $2 billion.
There were some headlines last week where you called for the governor to remove the DOT secretary and said we need to fix the overspending. So how do we do that?
Well, you fix the overspending by living within your budget so that you are not harming taxpayers, you're not harming the roads themselves, road contractors who depend on this work, and we need to have a sustainable plan. The second piece of this is to transfer the spigot of the money from the Department of Transportation to the Office of State Management and Budget. You know, the governor runs both of those things. So let the Office of State Management and Budget control the money spigot. Let the DOT do what they do best, which is build roads.
Treasurer Folwell, as always, thanks for being in here, even with your broken arm. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So the DOT Secretary, James Trogdon, responded to the overspending claims in a lengthy breakdown of the department's budget, saying in part, recent criticism that the department both spent more than it received and inappropriately moved funds fails to consider the dynamic nature of a multi-billion capital program. He also blamed several recent natural disasters like hurricanes and snowstorms and a major settlement over a state lawsuit. You can read his full statement in the Who Wants to Know section of our website.